Have you ever found yourself crying alone in times of hardship? Have you recently confronted any difficult situations? In which phase of life do you currently find yourself? I'd like to take this opportunity to share some encouraging news from God, for His Word is filled with glad tidings. Your time to celebrate has finally arrived, and a season of tremendous happiness is at your doorstep. You will experience immense joy and delight in this particular chapter of your life. Life is a journey that's made up of different seasons. As Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 reminds us, every season has its own purpose under heaven. There's a time for everything, and everything has its own designated time. In Ecclesiastes 3 verse 4, it is further explained that there is a time to mourn and a time to laugh, a time to weep and a time to dance. This means that every season in life has its own unique moments of joy and sorrow. When you're going through a season of sadness, it may seem like it'll never end. However, it's important to remember that every season has an appointed time for fulfillment. After every period of sorrow, there comes a season of dancing and celebration. It's your time to rejoice and experience the joys of life. Embrace the moments of happiness that come your way and cherish them. For just as every season comes to an end, so will this season of joy, making way for the next chapter of your life. The Bible tells us the story of Hannah, a woman who experienced the agony of infertility. She was deeply distressed and cried bitterly in her soul, praying to the Lord for a child. Hannah made a vow to God, promising to dedicate her child to His service if He granted her request. She poured out her heart in fervent supplication, seeking God's intervention. Despite the pain and sorrow she was going through, Hannah didn't lose faith. She continued to pray and trust in God's goodness, and finally, He answered her prayers. The Lord blessed her with a child, transforming her season of weeping into one of great joy. Hannah's story reminds us that even in our darkest moments, we can find comfort in turning to God and trusting in His plan for our lives. As Hannah's heart was filled with sadness for years, she never gave up her faith and continued to seek God's presence. Eventually, she was blessed with a child, and her sorrow turned into joy. Similarly, no matter what challenges you may be facing in your life right now, your persistence in seeking God's guidance and presence will bring about a season of rejoicing. Your appointed time to celebrate is right around the corner, so keep your faith strong and your head held high. The light at the end of the tunnel is not far away. Your happiness is not solely determined by external factors such as your circumstances, but rather it's deeply rooted in your relationship with God. As a child of God, you've been given the gift of an ongoing season of joy that is yours to claim in Christ Jesus. 1 Peter 4 verse 13. You're invited to rejoice in the knowledge that you are a participant in Christ's sufferings. And as His glory is revealed, you will experience a joy that surpasses all understanding. Thus, your joy is not fleeting, but rather it's a permanent inheritance that's available to you through your faith in Jesus Christ. In Colossians 1 verse 27, a fundamental truth is revealed that brings us hope. It tells us that having Christ within us is the greatest blessing, surpassing any earthly circumstances. This means that every day of our lives can be filled with greatness and celebration just by letting Christ's life manifest in us. It's a beautiful truth that reminds us of the endless possibilities that lie ahead of us. As you delve into the realm of the spiritual, you'll discover that you're in your season of rejoicing, as you are united with Christ. It's important to recognize that life is primarily spiritual, and as such, your joy emanates from Christ. Nehemiah 8 verse 10 reminds us that the joy of the Lord is our strength, urging us to rejoice in His presence. Your strength and joy derive from your relationship with God, not from external circumstances. Therefore, it is crucial to nurture your spiritual life, to cultivate and deepen your relationship with God. When you're in sync with Him, you'll find that your joy and strength will increase, and you'll be able to navigate life's challenges with grace and ease. Throughout your life, you may have experienced moments of sadness and frustration, shedding tears in secret over struggles. However, God has been with you every step of the way, witnessing your pain and preparing you for a season of great joy, just as He did for the Israelites. In the book of Exodus, we learn how the Israelites were enslaved under Pharaoh's rule, enduring harsh treatment and mistreatment. However, God heard their cries, saw their affliction, and sent Moses to deliver them from bondage and lead them to the Promised Land. This profound act of kindness and mercy demonstrates how God is always present, watching over us and working behind the scenes to bring us out of our darkest moments. So be encouraged and know that in due time, your season of joy and fulfillment will surely come. You've been going through a difficult season and it's been tough, but you should take heart and know that God has heard your cries and seen your affliction. He has taken notice of your struggles and has declared that it's time for you to rejoice. Just like how God promised the Israelites favor and abundance when they left Egypt, you too can expect the same. It's time for you to see the manifestations of God's promises in your life. You have found favor in His eyes, and He won't allow you to leave empty-handed. Your cries have reached His ears, and He has sent your Moses to lead you out of the difficult season and into a season of favor. This means that you should expect to experience a shift in your circumstances, a change in your fortunes, and a breakthrough in your life. God's plan is to keep you in this season of celebration, where you will continue to experience His goodness and blessings. He only asks for your faithful service in return. You can trust that God has a good plan for you and that He will guide you every step of the way. So, continue to trust Him, have faith, and expect to receive His promises in your life. When you serve God with your whole heart, you'll continue to experience His blessings and remain in a season of prosperity and pleasure. This means that as you go through life, you will not only receive God's blessings, but also find joy and satisfaction in every aspect of your life. You won't be limited to temporary joy and celebration, but your life will be filled with permanent joy because God is with you always. In fact, the joy you experience comes from Christ, and you partake in the blessing He brings. As a result, your life is a season of rejoicing because Christ lives within you, and you are in fellowship with Him. The joy of the Lord is your strength, and there is no limit to the blessings that you'll receive from Him. Your cup will never run dry, because God's blessings are abundant and never-ending. So, continue to serve God with your whole heart and enjoy the blessings of a life filled with joy, peace, and prosperity. This season of rejoicing is not temporary, it's eternal. God is doing a new thing in your life, turning dry seasons into seasons of abundant blessings. Just as rivers don't flow in deserts as a usual occurrence, God is making an exception for you. You will experience unprecedented breakthroughs and an overflow of God's goodness, for this is truly your season of rejoicing. Just remember, your joy is not solely contingent on external circumstances, but is rooted in your relationship with Christ. As you serve Him faithfully, you'll continue to experience His blessings and remain in a season of joy. God has seen your tears and heard your cries. Your season of celebration is here to stay.